July 14, 2022, the Moon is visible in the morning with the planet parade, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. It reappears after night falls in the southeast with Saturn. Chart caption, 2022, July 14, the bright Moon, Saturn, and Fomalhaut are in the southern sky before sunrise. By Jeffrey L. Hunt. Chicago, Illinois, sunrise, 5:28 a.m. CDT, sunset, 8:25 p.m. CDT. Check local sources for sunrise and sunset times for your location. Here is the forecast for the visibility of the Moon and planets. Morning sky. The bright Moon, 99% illuminated, is low in the southwest at 1 hour before sunrise. It is nearing Saturn. The ringed wonder is 24.3 degrees to the upper left of the lunar orb and about 1/3 of the way up in the south-southwest, near the star Deneb Al-Jidi. The Moon's brilliance washes out the dimmer stars. Do not confuse Saturn with the star Fomalhaut that is slightly higher than the Moon and nearly above the south cardinal point and to the lower left of the planet. Saturn is the dimmest of the 4 morning planets and the farthest west. It is retrograding in eastern Capricornus. Chart caption, 2022, July 14, Jupiter and Mars are in the southeastern sky before sunup. Bright Jupiter is halfway up in the sky in the south-southeast. It is slowly moving eastward in Cetus. In nearly 2 weeks the planet stops moving eastward and begins to retrograde. Generally, the planets move eastward compared to the background stars. As our world revolves quickly around the Sun in comparison to the outer planets, those farther away from the Sun than our world, we catch up to the planets and lap them. The planets seem to stop moving eastward and back up or retrograde. This is merely an illusion. Later, the planets reverse their course and seem to move again in their normal eastward courses. Dimmer Mars continues to march eastward in Aries, about 28 degrees to the lower left of Jupiter and 12.8 degrees to the lower right of Haemel, the constellation's brightest star. Mars begins to retrograde at the end of October. Chart caption, 2022, July 14, brilliant Venus passes Zeta Tauri low in the east-southeast before daybreak. Looking toward the east, the Pleiades star cluster might be visible in this bright moonlight. A binocular may help with their initial sighting. They are about 1/3 of the way up in the sky in the east, over 24 degrees to the lower left of Mars. Look for Capella, the bright star that is about the same altitude, height above the horizon, as the star cluster and above the northeast horizon. Venus is to the lower right of Capella and only about 9 degrees up in the sky at this hour. Find a clear horizon looking toward the east-northeast. A view from a hilltop or elevated structure may help spotting the planet. Venus' quick speed eastward continues to expand the gap to retrograding Saturn. This morning, the 4 planets range across 121 degrees of the ecliptic, the solar system's plane. This gap continues to widen. Eventually, the gap reaches 180 degrees so that Saturn sets as Venus rises. This occurs at the end of August. Then only 3 bright planets are in the sky together, either Venus or Saturn with Mars and Jupiter. This morning Venus passes the southern horn of Taurus, Zeta Tauri, Zeta Tau on the chart. The planet is 1.4 degrees to the upper left of the star. Because of the low altitudes of Venus and Zeta, use a binocular to initially locate the star. Elnath, the bull's northern horn is 6.8 degrees to the upper right of Venus. Notice, Aldebaran and the Hyades star cluster, use your binocular, to the upper right of Venus and below the Pleiades. Together they form the head of Taurus. Evening sky. Chart caption, 2022, July 14, 3 hours after sundown, the bright Moon is in the southeast near Saturn. The Moon, 97% illuminated, rises about 90 minutes after sunset, before the end of evening twilight. Saturn follows less than 10 minutes later. By 3 hours after sunset, the Moon is low in the southeast. Saturn is 11.9 degrees to the left of the lunar orb. With Saturn approaching its opposition in a month, it appears earlier in the east-southeast each evening. When Earth is between the planet and the Sun, Saturn rises at sunset and is in the sky nearly all night. During the night the Moon slowly moves eastward as Earth rotates, seemingly making the Moon and Saturn move westward. Before sunrise tomorrow, what is the location of the Moon compared to Saturn?